Hello, my name is Annette and welcome to this module in the NSAI Expert Training Series. This presentation is designed for NSAI technical experts who are following the work of IEC technical committees. I hope that this presentation will help you find your way around the IEC website so that you can find the document you need to take part in the NSAI technical committee. Next slide. Today, you will learn how to find your way around the IEC website, how to download documents from the website, how to complete the commenting template, how to register for an IEC meeting. Next slide. The first thing that you need to do is to access the IEC website on www.iec.ch. This will bring you to the IEC homepage. Once there, you will see along the top a ribbon menu where one of the options to select is Standards Development. When you click on Standards Development, it will give you a drop-down menu, and within this menu you should select List of TC/SCs. Next slide. Once you select the list of technical committees, you will be brought to the IEC Technical Committee and Subcommittee homepage. Here you are able to see the number of publications each committee has produced, the number of work programs each committee is involved in, and if the committee has produced a strategic business plan, you will be able to open a PDF version of the plan here. Next slide. There is a search option on this page where you can search by topic, committee number, and committee name, and the appropriate result will be returned. Alternatively, you can scroll down the list on this main search page. Next slide. Once you locate the committee of interest to you, you have two options. You can click directly on the committee number to bring you to their home page. You can click on the down arrow, which will give you a list of options, such as scope, structure, projects. Each of the items in the drop-down menu is a hyperlink, which will bring you directly to the relevant committee page. Next slide. Once in the committee home page, there are 7 more tabs to choose from: Scope, Structure, Projects Publications, Documents, Votes, Meetings, Collaboration Platform. It is important to remember that the collaboration platform will only work if you are registered on the IEC Technical Committee in the form of a working group, a project group, or a maintenance team. Next slide. Under the Structures tab, you can identify what countries are a member of the committee. You can see which countries hold observer status, O member, and which countries hold participant status, P members. NSAI encourages their technical experts to join working groups or maintenance teams to ensure Ireland maintains its participant status. Next slide. The Structures tab can be very useful to understand the structure of the technical committee. You can see which countries are participating or observing the committee. Here you can tell if a country is an observer member or a participating member, O being observer, P being participating. On the right, you can see which country holds the secretariat of the committee and the total number of countries that have input to the committee. It is within the Structures tab that you can see what subcommittees and/or working groups have been formed. Next slide. If you click on the subcommittees and/or working groups, you are able to see what working groups, project teams, maintenance teams, advisory groups, joint working groups, joint maintenance teams, and ad hoc groups are governed by the committee. It is within these teams and groups that the detail within the standard is developed. To have the maximum impact on the standard you are interested in, being part of these committees is the best way to get the Irish point of view heard. Next slide. Under the Project/Publications tab, You can see the number of active work items for the work program the committee are working on at any given time. The number at the end of the work program indicates active work items. Here you can see which working group is developing the work. If in this area you see a work program you would like to get involved in, you should contact your NSAI Standards officer, who will make the necessary arrangements for you. This tab also displays the publications this group have worked on and the stability dates for the standards they are responsible for. The stability date is an indication when the standard will be considered for revision. Next slide. To access the documents which are open for vote, you need to log in to the site. If you are unsure about login details, contact your NSAI Standards officer. Next slide. The username and password are provided to you by NSAI. They will register you, and you will get a notification email asking you to reset your password. Next slide. A pop-up page like this will ask you to enter your username and password. Your username will be a variant of your name, but it is generally IE for Ireland, first two initials of your first name, and first two initials of your last name. Next slide. A second login page may appear, and this one should accept either your IE password or your email address. Next slide. Once logged in, you will be able to open the PDF files to check the content under review. Next slide. For IEC committees, it is up to each individual member to monitor these vote pages and the closing date for submissions of votes. If, as an expert, you wish to submit a comment or vote against a document, you need to contact your NSAI Standards officer and have completed the commenting template. Next slide. This is an example of the commenting template. You must not edit or change the format of this table in any way. Please ensure you use the default fonts and leave the columns at their defined widths. Next slide. This is an example of the commenting template and how it should be completed. The header should be completed ensuring you are listing the correct draft and standard number. The first column is the member body, or MB, and for international inputs this needs to include the country code for Ireland, which is IE. At the national level, you could submit your initials in this column, so your NSAI secretary can track and trace all national inputs. Check with your secretary if they have any preference for national inputs. The next three columns are very important, covering line number, clause or subclause, and paragraph or figure/table. These three columns are used to track and trace where exactly in the document you are making comments. You must remember, at the international level, there can be thousands of comments, so please be specific regarding number of the clause, paragraph number, or line numbers if included in the draft. This will ensure international groups can find exactly where in the document you have a comment. The next column is the type of comment, and there are three different types: general, technical, and editorial. These are relatively self-evident, but there is a footnote in the template providing more information to help you. The next two columns are very important and both need to be completed in order to have your comment and proposed change considered. The comment column should highlight the issue or concern you have and include the problem text. The proposed change column should have alternative text that you would like to see added to address the issue or concern you raised. The final column is left blank and is completed by the TC Secretary when all comments are reviewed by the drafting group following the ballot closure. In general, if you have issues with a draft standard, it is better to vote against it and provide a rationale for your position in the comments template. Next slide. Good practice points to consider when completing the template. Make sure you comment on the correct draft. Use line number references if included in the draft. Be specific regarding number of clause, figure, table, etc. you are commenting on. Provide alternative text for proposed change if you want something changed. Classify comment type: general GE, technical TE, editorial ED. Consider voting against the draft if not happy with the content. Provide rationale in the comments. Next slide. When submitting a vote or ballot, NSAI has to perform a number of stages. Your comments may be one of many, so it is important that the National Secretary, in your case the NSAI Standards Officer, reviews all the inputs received and ensures a national consensus is established. Only then can NSAI submit the ballot or vote. If no input is received, NSAI takes a default position. The default will vary from abstain, no comments, yes, no, etc., depending on the status of the document. For international ballots, the same process occurs, taking submissions from all national members' positions, including any Irish position, submitted to the International Secretary, who collates and distributes all comments. The next draft is then developed. This process continues until consensus is agreed at the next stage. Next slide. On many technical committee web pages, the list of upcoming meetings may not be accurate until closer to the date. Therefore, consulting the minutes of the previous meeting may be necessary. At least 2 months before a meeting, an announcement will be posted under the Meeting tab, where you will find a link once registration has opened. You can check with your Standards Officer if you need more information about international meetings. Next slide. If a meeting is open for registration, the link will bring you to a page similar to this. You simply click on the meeting you wish to register for. Next slide. You then click on the Start Remote Participation Registration. Next slide. Select the Meetings tab. Next slide. Select which meetings you wish to attend. Next slide. Click back on the summary page and then submit registration. If the meetings are physical meetings, there will be additional tabs for visa, hotel, colleagues traveling with you, etc. Check with your NSAI Standards Officer if you have any difficulties with meeting registrations. In some cases, NSAI may need to verify national delegations for meetings. Other groups under the main TC should circulate meeting details directly to members. Next slide. The collaboration platform, as mentioned already, will only work if you are registered to the IEC Technical Committee in the form of a working group, a project group, or a maintenance team. Should you wish to join one of these groups, please contact your NSAI Standards Officer, who will make the necessary arrangements for you. Next slide. Thank you for your time, and I hope this short presentation makes it easier for you to navigate the IEC Technical Committee website. For more information on standards and for other modules on standardization, please see our Learning Centre on the NSAI website nsai.ie.